Good morning, everybody, and welcome again back to the Grand Hotel for our 5th Assembly meeting, Citizens' Assembly meeting on drugs. We all remember as young kids being in the car and our parents turned to us and saying, no, we're not there yet, but we're getting there. And that's kind of what it feels like at the moment for all of us, I think. This weekend's Assembly is focused on the area that you'll be aware of in terms of prevention and education, and I know it's an area that many of you have reflected during our previous Assembly meetings you'd like some more information on. So again, we've a range of speakers across a range of areas who'll talk to us. And equally tomorrow, we'll talk about an issue which you have equally raised as important, which is the issue of governance and oversight and funding of the sector and oversight, whatever emerges from our recommendations. Important to remind us all, we've given very significant thorough engagement. You've given very significant thorough engagement overall to this process. We're just calculating there's been a combined 180 hours of deliberations at each of your tables combined throughout the Assembly meetings to date. We've had 120 presenters present to us. We have 50 hours of presentations and we've had 15 dedicated hours of questions and answers. That's very significant and thorough, and I know all of you have done your own research between reading papers or engagement with the sector, and I want to commend you once again at the opening of this Assembly for all that you do. Just to remind ourselves again that the Citizens' Assembly process is what it says on the tin, a deliberative democracy process. It's a process for us to engage on an issue that's important for society and policy makers in a very safe space. And there are certain rules and procedures set out for us in that process. And it is that we have that safe space to do it. And we can't be influenced. There is a parallel debate goes on around each of the sessions in the public and the media and political system, and that's all very good because I think we all tune into it and we can all relate to it more, and I've always welcomed that. But there's a line that can't be crossed where it's the political system or advocates put particular pressure on yourselves as individuals or ourselves as an Assembly meeting. We have this safe space. It has to be protected from external advocates, politicians who might seek to influence us in a certain way. Just to say that, and that equally goes for within the Assembly itself. Within the 100 members, all of us as Assembly members, we all have one voice and one vote when it comes to October. So there's no room for advocating within the Assembly process either. And I want to commend you all for respecting that process to date. And that's really important because we have to respect each other's views, respect each other's minds as it might change or may not change through the process. I just want to reiterate that once again. But the feedback we've received to date, I have to say, Cathal will touch on it later on, has been very strong. That's exactly where everybody has come to this debate. Every time we look at the metric that says, you know, where are you now in your mind? Have you made your view? And it's a very strong feedback that says people, no, actually, I haven't firmed up my view, or my view might have changed. So I'd encourage you to keep going with that and respect each other's views through this process. I know it's on everybody's mind is about how do we get to ballot, and Cathal circulated a paper earlier this week which sets out the process of engaging with yourselves, 100 members, between now and the 22nd of October. So I would say to you, we're all feeling, how do you get there? I'm not ready for that yet. That's okay, that's understandable. That's where every Assembly process finds itself. But you will find you come to October, you will have a view, you will come to a judgment, and that's what we ask of you. And again, I repeat, you're not asked to design the end game, you're asked to design and recommend a line of flight where we believe policymakers, government should go. But it's not unusual to feel uncomfortable at this stage of the process, just to reassure you of that. Just closing message for myself before I hand across to Cathal, just two quick things. First of all, it would be remiss of me as chair of the Citizens' Assembly on Drugs not to commend the joint task forces this week in terms of the drug seizure that happened during the week. Very brave individuals working for the state, taking on tremendous courage against, as we know, that we have seen and hear the impacts of the criminal organisation around drugs in this country and the impacts on individuals and intimidation and some of the criminal issues that go on around drugs. So I want to commend the task force on that. Equally, the dilemma for us and the challenge for us is, yes, that's the criminal aspects on our defence forces and everybody else did well. We have to find the space that's challenging around moving to a more health-led approach, which has been a theme coming through presentations so far, the issue of legalisation, decriminalisation, depenalisation, regulation, and moving to a more health-led approach. So we have a complex agenda, but again, I want to close by commending the Joint Task Force again. Thank you very much, and I'm going to pass you across to Colin, and best of luck the weekend.